Okay, well, hello everyone. I just am painting some D&D miniatures here today. My plan is to paint this one, Ezmerelda's Wagon, and so I'm just gonna get set up now to start using some paints from Nolzur's Marvelous Pigments. This is kind of the box of paints that I'm going to be pulling from here today. So in order to paint this wagon, I'm going to pull out some of the colors that I'm going to be using here. And so I'm just going to kind of try to identify some of these now. We're definitely going to need a nice red. So my choice for that is maybe this Dragonfire red. That looks nice. There's also Cambion Crimson. My Vampire Garnets. It looks like for the wood, there's a couple different textures. One's a darker, one's a lighter. I'm thinking maybe the Bugbear Brown. Yeah. So a nice Minotaur hide as well. I always end up using this Bear Brown for the darker wood. Okay. It looks like there's some metallics here in the wheels. And right here on some of the posts. And this kind of has, this wood sort of has like a purplish varnish to it. And then up here there's the little smoke chimney for when they're cooking. So that's the plan today. I'm going to get started with getting my wet palette set up here. And a wet palette is basically just a sponge in a box, a very thin sponge in a box, like a chamois, with enough water that some parchment paper can just sort of lightly float on top of it, and that keeps your paints wet so that you can keep working with them. I need some paintbrushes, so I've got my list of paintbrushes here. I've got all the paintbrushes that I normally use. A burring tool is useful for just kind of taking off some edges, like some seam lines. Oh, hey, how's it going? Will there be spoilers? Not in this issue, not in this episode, no. This is actually a Vistani wagon for the Curse of Strahd, which is another campaign that I'm running, or I'm starting, and we'll see how it goes. So, yeah, I'm doing good. I just woke up, honestly. I was up late last night. So thanks for hanging out and watching the old Baldur's Gate 3 stream. And let's see here. Let me grab my wet palette. Okay, and then I need a little piece of parchment paper that goes over top of the wet palette. Okay. So this just sort of floats here on top. Oh, wow. Couldn't sleep either, huh? I get it. Yeah. Anything anything exciting going on this weekend? You gonna do any sports? Let me see here. So I'm gonna run some cold water over top of this real quick while I just to get it to lay down. And then after I run some cold water over this sponge, I usually use like a credit card or something to just kind of push the bubbles out a little bit. But this keeps your paints nice and wet while you're using them, so they don't go dry. And then I guess the problem with them going dry is that you're always having to go back to the paint pot, and you know, it can get confusing sometimes if you don't remember what color you're working with. Oh, camping. Oh, that's a great idea. I hope you find someplace cool, maybe up in the mountains or something. Okay. All right, I'm just going to start base coating a wagon here once I get it open. So, let's see. Now, the last time I was trying to paint on Twitch, it was coming in and out of focus quite a bit, so I'm hoping that's not going to happen this time. But this is the wagon, the Ezmerelda's wagon here, and it doesn't look too bad. When I bought it, I think one of these little lights broke off, and I super glued it back on. But okay, so here it is. How much is it? I think this was like $28 on eBay, this set. This is a little bit wacky here. You can see there's like a big seam kind of in the top. And what works well for those seams is some of this perfect plastic putty. So I think it's okay if I put this on my wet palette. Normally, no, but today, yes, because I'm just trying to get this done. So I'm going to squeeze some of this putty out on my wet palette, and I'm just going to try to like push it into that crevice a little bit with a tool of some sort. This tool is kind of my my go-to for working with wet putty. I got this when I was painting, and it's for like making notches or lines in oil and acrylic paints, more so oil, I guess. But for this, it might work. So I'm just going to try to fill in that gap a little bit as best as I can. Just try to pretend like it never was even there. It's easier said than done sometimes. I might need to switch up to a toothpick or something to work this. But the nice thing about this stuff is once you get it, then it's not too hard to make it do what you need and then clean up afterwards. Yeah, it's like English muffins. Just want to fill in all those little nooks and crannies with butter or jelly, depending on what your go-to English muffin topping is. Oh, it's doing the thing again where it's focusing in and out. Ooh, hate that. Hate that. Don't like it. Normal iPhone usage allows you to kind of control the camera a little bit. You can like hold on something with your big finger and it'll zoom in and it'll autofocus. And it looks like it's doing that a little bit. I'm just going to bear with it for now. Worst comes to worst, I might have to switch my streams to YouTube or something for the miniature painting videos because Twitch just isn't playing. Oh, good. Okay. I'm glad it's not bothering you. To me, I would find it horrible to try to focus on or watch something. Okay. Looking good, I think. Okay, now I just got to kind of clean it out of this little area just a little bit. So I'm just going to use a dry brush here, and I'm going to go in there and just kind of see if I can work some of it out. It's not being very cooperative, so I'm going to put a little water. Yes. And that's great. That water just melts it. Okay. Cleans up pretty easy here. I do have to wash my brush out good afterwards or it will not be ready. And for brush wash, I use this Masters brush cleaner and preserver. Oh, yeah, I think Twitch works great as just something to listen to in the background. I agree. I need to fill up my cup of water here real quick, so give me just a second. Okay. So I've got my water, and I always also need a paper towel. So now I've got a roll of paper towels and some water here, and when I clean my brush, I'll normally put it in water first and then put it in this Masters cleaner, and then just twirl it around a little bit and then wipe it dry. Maybe do that twice. But model putty is not something you want on your paintbrushes for very long. Okay. Get started with some of the Owlbear Brown. There's not much left here, but I thought I would just really try to stick to the Nolzur's line of pigments as best as I could, because they're the official paints of Dungeons and Dragons. I thought if anyone wants to use these videos later on, it would be a good paint line to use. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the obvious wood parts, and I'm going to start with the Bugbear Brown, and then I'll bring it back up in color. But the more I look at it, these are like a purple, so we'll see how it goes till then. So Ace, you said you're gonna... Yeah, I do have a YouTube channel. It's same username, Brandon the White, and sorry, I'll focus on my job here at Task. Same kind of stuff, just playing video games, talking about D&D. Just having a good time. these brown. There's some metal on them, so I'll come back later and paint them with the metallics. These were really hard to track down at one point in time, and the only option that I had was buying a broken one. It wasn't long after that they started reprinting them and they became easy to get again. But I got this one on a discount because it was a little battered in this area. But I'm happy with it. And honestly, it's nice to have... I ended up going back and getting another one afterwards. Because it's nice to have a few of them. Especially if, spoiler warning, you're playing Curse of Strahd and your party gets to the Vistani camp. Because the wagons are all kind of circled up. And this is Ezmerelda's wagon, but, there's other Vistani in the game as well. Okay. So it's nice to have some extra wagons on hand for whatever you need. Never know when these things come in handy. You can save yourself a lot of prep work sometimes by really preparing for a game. If you're trying to run a game, the more you prepare for it, you might also be preparing for other games at the same time that you don't even know. Oh my gosh. Well, hello, chat. I have never had people chatting in the chat before, except last night. Ace was chatting it up. That was great. So, thank you. Welcome for coming. Welcome. Thank you for coming. And do my best to keep it going here while I'm painting. So, Ezmerelda's wagon is a good prop. There's a lot of things that get reused. I find like tents get reused a lot. Just general campsite areas. D&D is, I feel like it's famous for when the party takes a rest, some dungeon masters using that time to attack the party. And it's almost I saw it during my who is OG Skills? Tell me. I don't know. I'll take a guess. Oh boy. Is it Emerson? Is that Emerson? No? Did I say it before it popped up? I feel like I said it before it popped up. Did I win? Did I win this round? Yes, sir. Oh, the force is strong with this one. I like Emerson. I like Ace too. They're good guys. Good guys. GG. So yeah, it used to be every time that my party would go for a long rest, they would get attacked. And I noticed this sort of setup where whenever we went for a long rest, they would start going into these long ordeals of how they were preparing their camp for the night, setting traps and bells and strings and alarms. Oh, nice. Aw, tell Elliot I said hi. What a great group. So I stopped attacking during my party during long rests. I don't do that as much. I'm not saying I'll never do it ever again, but I just kind of noticed it was becoming predictable that every time we rested, there was an attack. And I don't know. It just seems like a good time for creatures to come prowling. But so these, if you're that type of dungeon master, then these little camp pieces are great. I'm gonna need a little more brown here. All right. Well, I am so glad everybody is hanging out here in the chat. You're all wonderful. Just appreciate it. To have somebody to talk to, you know, gets a little lonely here. Just painting miniatures by yourself day in and day out. This is you know. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I will do my best to just keep chatting and talking about what I'm doing here. This is a base coat. It's sort of all purpose, just getting things covered so they're not black and white or gray anymore. And as you're doing a base coat, sometimes you'll see after you're done that the paint didn't cover every place you thought it would, because this acrylic paint, it dries up as you're using it. And as it dries, it's like any liquid, it sort of pulls and recesses and gets light in some areas. Another thing you can do is thin your paints down with water. That really helps. Oop, that's not the paint I was using. That's Minotaur hide. So I'm gonna come back here, my owl bear brown. I'm gonna put down some more of that because I did not mean to get into the lighter color yet. And normally when you're painting, you're starting with lighter colors or darker colors, and you're working your way up to the highlights. Well, tell Elliot I said hi to. I hope Elliot's doing well. I feel like it's been forever since I've seen him. Or wait, which is this? Okay, hold on 1 second. Hope I'm thinking about the right Elliot here. All right, so once this is all good and base coated brown, then I'm gonna switch over. I'm just gonna paint this area. I'm gonna switch over to a lighter color and start with the highlights. Actually, we'll see. Just gonna wait and see. I might do a wash. And these are all fancy terms for thin coats of paint. Whenever I say like wash or I say I'm gonna put a base coat or whatever else, base coats are a little thicker, but all you're doing is just painting in thin coats of paint and building up as you go along. Emerson's sister. Oh, okay. Oh, hello, Elliot. Oh, that's the Elliot. Thank you, Emerson's sister. Aw, what a great kid. What a great group of people. Emerson, I know from Dungeons and Dragons. Emerson plays in my my D&D group, and when we can get him, he's a busy guy. He's always involved in sports and stuff, but and Ace too, and that's great. And D&D is kind of a good team building exercise as well. It's always great to see people at the table, and it's Dungeons and Dragons players who really go on, I feel like, to specialize in storytelling and in later life, and it's such a skill, right? Yeah, I know you do. I know you try your best to make it. Always try your best to make it, and it's not easy with conflicting schedules and everybody doing other activities as well. And then, we have obligations to families, and during the holidays, it's tough to get together. But our D&D group, I feel like, has been meeting pretty successfully on this Storm King's Thunder campaign for the try to get back in the we've been doing pretty great about doing this Storm King's Thunder campaign, and we're getting through it. I was looking at it, the book the other day, and I'm like, wow, we made some good progress. There's not that much left. And when it comes to it, I was also thinking that we need more to just kind of fill up before the game ends, because it really is. It's coming close. The end of the campaign is. I'm not going to say it's around the corner, but I think there's less time in the rest of the campaign than has passed since we started playing, for sure. Thank goodness, because we've been playing for 2 years. But as kind of I was thinking maybe we want to investigate some of your backstories. So I'm working on some backstory arcs for your characters, kind of one at a time. And I don't want to railroad you guys as a party. I don't want to railroad my friends into doing something that, I know, 2 years. That, it's like, but I feel like it's kind of like if we want to explore one character's kind of side story, the rest of the party sort of has to agree to kind of suspend the main efforts in order to do that. But I don't know. Let me know what you think. I feel like it would be fun to do, because really, the Dungeons and Dragons is about the players. You'll do a side quest. Okay, good. So I thought the first one that I would come up with would probably be Joey's, because they started the D&D club, and I feel like it's sort of an easy one to begin with, and everybody will know what we're doing. So, all right. Try to speed things up a little bit. I should have maybe used an airbrush here. Make sure I'm using the right paint. Okay. So just to maybe break, I think it'll help too to break up the monotony of just, okay, big plot mission, big plot, hook to, other big plot hook. It just, it might be fun to just kind of take a minute to explore the world of the characters. And like I said, D&D is really, it's all about the characters in the game, the player characters. And so why not have a moment to focus on the players a little bit throughout the campaign. There's the overarching story, but I want to hear about your backgrounds and more of the things that the things that you kind of want to achieve. I know a lot of you have, or a lot of the players at my table here, or a lot of the players at our table, I should say. They have little side stories that are just begging to be explored. Our cleric, Ace, has been trying to craft things for some time in order to play his character in the way that they want to be played. So I've been kind of railroading, just trying to get us through the story. But now I feel like it's a good time for you to be the spotlight for a little while. Not that the characters aren't always the spotlight, but oh man, having fun. Getting almost done with the base coat on the bottom here. And even though this isn't going to be seen very much, you got to go in and paint all these little parts. You just have to. It's not table ready until you do. I don't think Ace has given up on that yet. And it's Ace, do you want to say anything about that? I'm not going to jump in here. I'm going to let you talk about it if you want to. But your character, the cleric, is always, investigating. And then Emerson, as a ranger, Emerson. I don't know if I should say anything, but I was really disappointed when you failed that perception or that investigation check yesterday, because I shouldn't say anything. I really shouldn't say anything. I'm not gonna lie. I had something I really wanted to give you, and all you had to do was just pass that perception check. But jeez, it wasn't even that high, right? It was like a 10 maybe, but I didn't tell you what it was. But I'm not going to say anything more, because it's still, I tell you, it's like, I feel like this is something that your character would really appreciate. So I'm going to work it back into the story somewhere. It's an item. It's a magical item. It's super overpowered, but honestly, this part of the game is all about players getting magical items. Yes. That's okay. Yeah, that's what and there's rules for Eberron. I actually, on the Prime Day sale, I picked up Eberron Rising from the Last War, because it has rules for, like, sorry, I'm not painting on camera here. You're just looking at a paint palette and hearing me talk. It has rules for, like, Gunslinger. It has, like, rules for in Eberron. There's more of a technology focus, and so they have guns, they have things of that nature, warforged, like cyborgs that you can play as a playable character. So I picked up that book on the Amazon Prime sale because I kind of wanted to see what they had in there. And, like, one of the guns that they had was like a little I don't know what to call it, like a derringer that pops out of your sleeve almost. And one of the players in my Curse of Strahd campaign chose to do a Warforged from Eberron, and they chose that as one of their starting weapons. So I let them do it right off the bat, because I kind of wanted to see how it played out a little bit before we introduced it into Storm Kings. And so I'm just kind of seeing how it goes. It doesn't seem broken. It seems all right. It's just a ranged weapon. No big deal. It's just, little flare. But so yeah, that could be maybe something to look forward to. coming up if you're Ace. Okay, it's really important to wash out your brushes. This is a brush that is one of my favorites, and I was painting with it, and then when I got done, I just dropped it and called it a night. And it happens. But you gotta put these little babies to bed. You gotta take care of them. You gotta wash their hair. You gotta roll them in oil and clean them off. Put them in a shower of water, and then they'll be ready when you need them next. They'll be fresh and recharged for your next application. So don't make that mistake I made. What else? All right, I'm going to continue base coating here. It's almost done on the bottom. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to do all of it. I'm not messing around. I'm not messing around here. I'm just going to do it all. Okay, so I'm going to need to squeeze out a lot of paint. Oh yeah, you want that axe from Harshnag, Gert's Great Axe. Yeah. You know, and it's funny. It's like Gert's Great Axe is such a powerful weapon in the game, but it doesn't really. I mean, it's a powerful weapon in the hands of Harshnag. I'm not sure how it translates over to a player character. But I know you want it, and I'm aware of it, and no, and right, so yeah, why not? We'll see what happens. But the question is how to make it work in the hands of a player character, because Harshnag is like a giant. It's gonna be really hard for a halfling to be wielding Gert's Great Axe around with, such proficiency, but I believe in you. I know you can do it. All right, like I said, I'm just going for it here. Maybe this wagon can be a little less painted, and that can kind of distinguish it from Ezmerelda's wagon, which I'll paint on another day and time. So I'm just going to go crazy. I'm just going to base coat this whole thing now with the Bugbear Brown. Just gonna do it because we've got a lot of stuff we got to do here. It's not a time saver. Yeah. If you fight the dragon, he's dying. The dragon's dying? Or Harshnag's dying? Oh God. I think you guys you're planning on, the death of an NPC so soon. I didn't say anything. I mean, is foreshadowing just I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything. Not saying a word about what's coming up. I'm going to wet this paint down a little bit. It really flows a lot better with a little bit of water, but you can see where I'm starting to kind of lose the pigment in this streak. Yeah, it's so hard not to say anything about what's happening right now because it's so key to everything that's going on. But yep, this big dragon fight it's a milestone for the party. Fighting an ancient blue dragon, I feel like. I mean, the game's called Dungeons and Dragons, and with that being the name, you would expect at some point to have to fight a dragon. I mean, and this is definitely a dragon fight, without a doubt. This is it. This is a big dragon fight. So good. You guys, have a plan. Definitely have a plan. If you've been, saving any little tricks, maybe now would be a good time to use them, right? You have any magical items that need breaking in. Oops, getting in the wrong brown. Yeah, that Revivify. Ooh, will come in clutch. Definitely do not want to lose any party members in this fight. So I'm cooked. Yeah. Um, well, you know, you're gonna make it. You're gonna make it through. If somebody has to be revivified, it's part of the game. If there's an opportunity for me to pull a punch. I'm probably not going to do it though, because I don't want to jip you out of a good experience. I don't want to lessen it for you. I want you to try yourselves. That is true. You have Beacon of Hope, so you have advantage on not only death saves, but wisdom saving throws as well, which really came in handy during our fight. When the dragon used its frightful presence, or frightful presence. Gosh, I couldn't even imagine if all the party ran out of the fight terrified and no one saved their saving throw, and everyone just had to back up and get back into the portal room and just wait quietly for it to wear off. So that what spell was that? That was Beacon of Hope. That's right. Great spell choice. Perfect time to use that spell. And then the Javelin of Lightning. Oh gosh, I love that Javelin of Lightning. That is just one of my favorite weapons whatsoever. And I feel like the deal with it is that it hits everybody in a line. So it would have been like a great weapon to use in the barbarian fight, because you guys had that huge swarm of barbarians coming at you. And that Javelin of Lightning could have just taken out a huge swath of them at once. Because when you throw it, it does like 4d8s all the way down the line to any creature. So it's kind of like a fireball. It's a big, powerful, magical spell. And then it hits, whoever you throw it at as well, with the lightning and the javelin ranged attack. Yes, you can go under the dragon. Just slip right under it. Classic halfling thing to do. But did you remember what the do you remember what the dragon's breath weapon was? Do you remember what when it breathed its breath weapon? So during battle, you always have the option of like doing a nature check or a survival check, or asking if you know anything about the creature, just because you sort of live in a world where, and this is, I don't consider this metagaming. This is kind of like reverse metagaming, because it's knowledge that you wouldn't have as a person outside of the world, if that makes sense. I'm just scared for Johnny Box of Donuts for this fight. Oh God. Johnny Box of Donuts. I feel like that is Brigida. Brigida is Brigida Johnny Box of Donuts. Who's Johnny Box of Donuts? If that's Brigida, oh my gosh. I was thinking about that after the game yesterday about the breath weapon, and just it was just such an panther. Oh, my cat, Johnny Box of Donuts. Oh, I forgot you called your kitty Box of Donuts. So don't be scared. Don't be scared for Johnny Box of Donuts. Here's what, like, I would never kill as a dungeon master. I would not kill your pet. Permadeath. Like, they would be, I would say, like, banished temporarily to, like, the Feywild, sort of like a but because, like, you have this almost like a supernatural connection with this animal that you're able to call it back from the Feywild should it perish. So what I would almost say is, I don't want you to worry too much. I mean, I would definitely, continue to play the way that you've been playing, where your pet is a no. Nobody wants to come to a table and have their pet killed. That's nightmare. So don't be afraid. Be cautious. Yeah. But your panther wants to get into the battle as much as you do. It's craving for its chance to score a critical hit. Can't rob it of that, right? Yeah, it's no fun to think that if you play your companion the way that they should be played, that you run the risk of losing them forever, especially if you're a ranger and you've bonded with your pet so much. So that's something that gets talked about a lot on, like, the official D&D pages and sites and socials, and all the D&D creators for the most part are unanimous with, like, let your players have their pets. That's a cheap shot. We all love our animals, and it's a tempting thing to do. I'm gonna turn into John Wick. Yeah, right. That's funny. Gosh. Oh, now that you've said that. No, I'm kidding. I kid. You're already kind of John Wick, you kind of bows akimbo over there, throwing around the arrows, slinging them at the dragon. You did a great job. That armor class is crazy. It was like, a 19 didn't hit was the clue, but a 21 did. But don't rob your pet of its chance to have some fun. Because as a ranger, it's really part of the class, to have a pet. And right, that's yeah. And as we were playing last night on Baldur's Gate, and the amount of inspiration that we received, really, I'm just like, gosh, I need to be a little better about giving it out. I'm so stingy with the inspiration. I don't know where that comes from. I think it comes from me wanting to, force people to be creative. And I feel like if I give inspiration, it's just a cheap way out of it. It's like you can cheese your way out of having to be creative. Just like, I'm going to use my inspiration. But really what it comes in handy for are those really important moments where you need a good dice roll, like Emerson yesterday, where, here it is. I'm trying to give him, this end game magical item. Here I am, again, going into too much detail. And, he doesn't have any inspiration to re-roll his perception check. That's my bad as a DM, because I should really be, giving you more chances than just one if you fail a critical dice roll. So, causing more work for myself by not giving you inspiration is what I'm thinking. Yeah, yeah. I fumbled the bag. Oh no. Well, when it comes up on restock, I'll let you know. Okay. That is most of that. Okay. Guess I'll switch over to the red base coat the roof. All right. So, and it's never a done deal when you choose a color for something, but so here's the picture. And then that's way too pink. This is what I do sometimes. I'll just kind of try to add it up. Yeah, the Vampire Garnets to me looks the closest so far. Yeah, and then we'll do the highlights with the Dragonfire Red. Okay, so base coat with Vampire Garnets and then Dragonfire Red to highlight. Make it purple? Okay. How about this? Purple. We can do that. Let me see what we got here. Got a couple purples. This one is Glistening Blood. Are you joking? Oh, okay. I was about to go for it. It's like, I'm going to do it. I'll do it. All right. Vampire Garnets it is then. If we're only joking. Where did I put them? It's so easy to lose paints when you just got a bunch of them all around you all the time. Pixie does pink. Cambion Crimson. I gotta shake these up really well. I haven't used these in so long. It's been years since I've used the D&D paints, the official line. I've moved on a lot to Vallejo paints. These ones, like these game color paints, and I like those a lot. And I don't know, gosh, who was around when we did the paint day, but that was the box of paints that I brought when we did our painting day. We should do another one of those. Oh, that's okay. This is like, this is a place for fun, right? I'm just down to have fun. If this was a miniature that I was like, oh my God, this is the most delicate, rarest miniature ever, yeah, maybe so. Speaking of the most rarest miniature ever, dun, 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 dun. This is probably for me like one of the rarest miniatures. It's Count Strahd von Zurovich. This was it was a promo mini. For free tabletop RPG day. And so excuse me, it's not COVID. When I went to track it down, yeah, I went to the store. I didn't know what they were going to do for it, but I put my name in for the drawing. And then, I called my partner and had them come down and put their name in for the drawing. And there was tons of stuff that you could win during this free tabletop RPG day. But that was the one item that I wanted. And, oh my gosh, it was I didn't win it. Long story short, I called everybody to come and put their name in. And my partner's Hmong, which is like... It's an Asian ethnicity, and she's half Hmong and half Laotian, and her mom came over during the Vietnam War, doesn't speak any English at all, and I had her bring I had her come down, and she brought her mom with her at the time. And her mom didn't know what she was signing up for. You just have to come in and write your name on the back of like a ticket, and you hand it in. And I think her mom thought she was signing up for the lottery. I think she thought she was gonna like win some crazy amount of money, but instead, it was just this little Strahd von Zurevich miniature. If she had won, it would have been a disappointment, to say the least. But when I didn't win, like, I waited the next day. I'm like, oh, they're gonna call any day now. They didn't call, and I realized that after a few days. I'm like, okay, I guess I didn't win the Strahd mini, but gosh, I couldn't stop thinking about wanting it. I just wanted it, so I got on eBay and I bought it for $40, and it hurt, but I was like, I guess, you can't take it with you, got to spend it on something. So that's what I spent my $40 on. That's what I bought. Worth every penny. Uh-huh, I agree. Okay, I'm going to thin this paint down just a little bit. And then we'll see if I don't want it to be super thin, but it does tend to kind of blot up the details if it's you want it to be like the consistency of a milkshake is what they say all the time, like a slightly runny milkshake. So this is too thin. Yeah, you can see that's too thin. So the other option is just adding more paint if you thin it down too much. Oh, speaking of my partner, I just heard the beep of her car, so she might be on her way inside momentarily. If I have to stop the stream, it's because she's doing something we can't stream. Sometimes, that's part of the thing. Don't want her to come in and start, dropping F-bombs or something. But we'll see. I texted her a picture today. I can't show you, but one of our cats got stuck in a plastic bag, a trash bag full of blankets, and all that you see is this cat's head sticking up out of a blanket full of trash bag full of blankets. He's a funny cat. I try to text her pictures every now and again to just kind of make her happy, keep her day going well. This is, like I said, this is very thin, too thin almost, but it's going to take multiple coats here to get some good coverage. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to keep building it up. Oop, got a little crazy there. Not a problem. Never a problem. Make a mistake. It's all right. I feel like the airbrush does a great job of this sort of thing when you need to cover a large area quickly. So Ace is going camping soon. We're gonna have to balance the game a little bit around that. And yeah, that's cool. Do you? I know Jace does Boy Scouts. I used to do Boy Scouts when I was a kid. I used to love going on the jamborees and stuff like that. And I never made it very far. I made it to like the first, I think it's called the first badge as a Boy Scout. Tenderfoot, I think Tenderfoot. Oh boy. I just realized I left a lot of that model putty under here. I didn't realize that I had left so much of it. Oh, that's terrible. Unacceptable. What shoddy work. FaceTime? Wait, who are we FaceTiming? Oh, you mean me? Do I do FaceTime? Yeah. So, not really so much though. I'm not much of a FaceTime person. Um, I might FaceTime Miss Stacy sometimes. I don't know if y'all know Miss Stacy. Oh, me camping. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. I've always said that's an option. I think everybody else would feel bad. Well, and me as well. I would feel bad about taking you away from the people that you're with, because camping's a communal experience, right? It's like you going camping. It's like you and the people that you're camping with are sort of sharing an experience, and I feel like going camping and then doing FaceTime Dungeons and Dragons is well, it's kind of missing out on the community experience. Oop. But I think camping's maybe even more important than Dungeons and Dragons, which is saying a lot coming from me, but it's like, no, sometimes it is good to just get out into nature, spend some time. 7 days, whew. You're pretty much you're pretty much on a loan at that point. Pretty much a survivor. What's your favorite part of camping, Ace? You have a favorite camping story? Or a favorite part of camping? Yeah. Yeah. You don't like camping? Oh, that's okay, Emerson. I'm telling you, I was not a big camping person. Even in, took me a while. My least favorite part of camping is coming back to all the noise of the city. Like I've lived in Sacramento for a long time, but coming back down from the mountains and just hearing all the noise, ooh, it takes a minute to readjust. Okay. This is definitely going to take multiple coats of paint. It's a very thin pigment. I like the color, but it's streaky. Mendocino, camping by the ocean. Oh, camping by the ocean. Yeah. No, I get it. I get it, Emerson. There's a lot of conveniences, that we have living in the city, and why do we want to give those up so easily, right? A lot of good stuff here. I like being close enough to a place where I can buy an Arizona iced tea cherry lime Ricky, right? Like, I get it. I like having my packages delivered with 2 days shipping on Prime. I understand your like for the city as well. It's nice when you are kind of near a city, when you're camping close to something, at least, like an IGA or IGA. I only say that IGAs have been, gone for a long time. I feel like, but there's still a few around. And on my last camping trip, we went to a place called Shingleton, and it was near Mount Lassen. It was nice and cool. And our place to get supplies was a little IGA. They're very nice people. It was a little town called Shingleton, and near Albion River Campground. Okay, all right. I think this is going to take, this top is probably going to take one more coat. And I need to start thinking about a couple other things. The underside here, this top piece here, this top piece here could probably all be brown as well. So I'll paint those real quick while I am waiting for, and then these up here. Oh boy. I'm going to paint these real quick while I'm waiting for the red to dry, because you can't just keep putting coat on top of coat or everything gets gummed up. Oh, nice. So you're going to Lassen. Okay. So you'll probably be up near Shingletown. That was, it was a little cold when we got there, but I'm sure it's not nearly as cold now as it was then. In fact, I saw that they had like 118. So, yeah, I'm anxious to hear what the weather's going to be like while you're out there. I'm going to switch over to this really kind of a smaller brush to kind of get up into some of these tighter areas here. Do you go fishing when you're camping on the near the ocean, or do you not do any of the outdoorsy activities? Yeah. Oh God, put my finger right in the paint. Okay. Love that. What a great way to pass the time. It's exciting. I love animals, so I'm not really into hurting things, but you know what? With fishing, I just love the thrill of catching a fish and seeing it, and of course letting it go. I'm not. Yeah, fishing is fun. I read a lot of. Well, not a lot of. I read Ernest Hemingway every now and again, and he's an author who does a lot of fishing books, stories of fishing and stuff. He always talks about best breakfast that you can have is freshly caught trout, and you cook them in the bacon grease after you cook the bacon, and you dip them in some cornmeal, and then you just lightly fry them in the bacon grease, and you have them along with your pancakes. And I can never see having trout and pancakes for breakfast, but that was Hemingway's favorite camping breakfast. Fishing? You've been kicked out of places? Who would do such a thing? What kind of person? What kind of park ranger? Fishing's a life skill. Oh, oops, out of the lineup again. Fishing's a life skill. It teaches you so much. Patience. It teaches you perseverance. You know, first you don't succeed, you got to try again. And it's interesting, you know, there's something about fishing where it's like, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but like some people can catch fish while others can't, and using the same bait, fishing in the same spot, and somebody will just be reeling them in hand over foot while somebody else is just nothing. Like, what gives? What's going on there? Like, scientifically, that should not work, right? It should not be possible. That so what's the dealio on that? Oh, Emiliano's here too. Nice. Oh, I'm checking now. I see. Yeah, four people. Got the whole D&D club. Welcome, Emiliano. Good to see you. Glad you're here. This is not for our campaign, so don't feel like you're waiting for this to show up. It's just this is for Curse of Strahd, and you know, but it might. You never know. It could show up in our campaign. So what I'm saying is, don't worry about spoilers. Although we can, feel free to talk about. Random pond with a random lady comes up and yells at me for no reason. Wherever you go fishing, you're going to be accosted by someone, is what you're saying. I believe it. That's your luck. You catch Karens. Caught a Karen. It's about 180 pounds. It's not a keeper. I'm going to throw it back. You should start photographing them. Stand next to them and just, you know, put your hand up above their head. You know, put a fist up. You know, just a little bit. Caught a nice Karen this time. Look at this beauty. Yeah. Okay. That's enough. I find my jokes far too funny sometimes. Not a good trait. All right. Just looking around. What else I got? This up here. I always enjoy painting. I always enjoy painting wood textures when you do the wash, which I'll do in a few. When you do the wash, it's just magic watching those wood grains kind of stick out. But again, when I say these things, really, when I say wash, light coat of paint, that's all it is. Just a very thin down light coat of paint. So these wagons are going to be for like a group of wandering gypsies called the Vistani, and they show up in the Ravenloft campaign or Curse of Strahd. But the way that like these Ravenlofts, the Ravenloft world is it's sort of a separate. It's like a shadow dimension. It's sort of a self-contained world that people get pulled into from other parts of the Sword Coast. Oh yeah. Oh, post it on. You should post those. You should do Karen photos and post like your Karen photos on fishing forums. Just say you're fishing for Karens and see the one I caught today. But do you have you don't have to have a fishing license yet, you know, but in a few years you're gonna need one. And I always, I don't know, how do you feel about fishing licenses? I mean, I don't have one personally, and I've, confession, I've still gone fishing. I haven't caught anything, so that's good. Actually, I did catch a little river brown trout up at Shasta a couple of years ago, and let him free, but I did catch that. It was fun. I always try to get 2 points of contact here, so that I'm holding the mini and my brush is being stabilized by the same hand that's holding the miniature. Little pottery technique. Just trying to do all the base coating if I can at this point. And the red's drying up, so that will be a good time soon here for me to go and do another base coat on the roof with the Vampire Garments red. Yeah, I feel like this brush might just be a little too small. Yeah, I feel like fishing licenses, it's good to have one in case, but you probably don't need one. Honestly. And you shouldn't, right? Nobody, had a license when they made the pond. Nobody had a license when they put the fish in it. But I can get why, they want to regulate fishing. Oh, sorry. Kicking things here. I'm going to grab a drink just from the refrigerator. Nothing like a cold mug root beer. I got those on Prime Day. They were running a special, and they let you have $40 off of $100 worth of groceries. And they had all sorts of buy one get one deals that day as well. So I ended up getting all of these root beers for $10. I got all these 12 packs, and I accidentally got Diet Starry as well. Who's going to drink that? I didn't even want to. I didn't want to bring that to the game. I didn't want to subject anyone to it. So you need one if you're going to keep your fish, but if you're releasing them, then you don't. That sounds fair, right? If you're going to keep fish, then sure. I don't understand the fishing regulations, but I'm sure I trust that there's a reason for them, and try to abide by that. Bought a lot of D&D modules on Prime Day this year, so once we finish Storm Kings, I picked up Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which is a Feywild adventure. I also picked up the keys. I tried to get keys to the Golden Vault. It wasn't on sale. But I did pick up Tyranny of the Dragons, and I think that was the first published adventure for 5e. So there's Tyranny of the Dragons. I know Jace was was I don't know if he wanted to run it or if he was interested in playing it, but that's another one. I picked up what else? There's a lot of movies on sale. I picked up Dune 2 on 4K. Yeah, Emiliano would be up for that. He's a Dune fan. I feel. I got John Carpenter's The Thing on 4K Blu-ray. It was like $10. Oh yeah. I am a huge Dune fan. I like the book Dune. I haven't read any of the other books, but I did read Dune, and I was just so enthralled with it. Oh, so good, so good. And I loved the. I remember being a kid. Well, not a kid, but a young adult. Your age. When I was your age, I was really into the David Lynch Dune movie. Or I didn't understand it, but I mean it was interesting. So yeah, I picked up Dune. I picked up The Thing. The whole entire Terminator, the entire like 6-film Terminator collection I got for it was on Blu-ray. It wasn't on 4K, but still, I liked the first. Maybe the first Terminator movie was pretty good. Probably James Cameron's finest work. Some people think Titanic was, but I don't buy it. I think it was Terminator. Although he stole the idea from Harley and Ellison, who was a science fiction writer, and never gave him due credit for it. So I think that's not fair. But Terminator 2 was amazing. Loved that one. So yeah, pretty successful Prime Day this year. Lots of root beer for D&D. Lots of D&D books. I'm trying to think of what else I picked up for as far as the pre-made D&D modules. And we can decide as a group if you want to do one of them. It's going to be probably, I don't know how many more sessions Storm King's going to last here. It might be over next session. Kidding. You guys are fighting a pretty big dragon, though. All right. I feel like I got what I needed to get for the most part here. Yeah. Okay, back to the red. So yeah, Dune 2. I haven't seen the next. I haven't read the next book beyond that, but the first 2 Dune movies covered the first book, and Dune Messiah, I think, is like what's coming up next. And I don't know what happens with is it Paul Atreides, his son, his kids? But I think one of them turns into like a giant, basically becomes a sandworm, which seemed a little. I love Dune, but the rest of the books seemed a little too far fetched. They just seemed a little too out there. I'm going to say I'm probably wrong about that. I'm probably missing out on some good sci-fi. Oh. Speaking of good sci-fi, good science fiction, probably one of the coolest things that I picked up was the entire series of Babylon 5. And that was a win for me. It was $65. And Babylon 5 is, some people regard as one of the best science fiction series ever made for television. And I kind of agree. It was written by an author, J. Michael Straczynski, who wrote many of the 1980s TV cartoon plots. So like The Real Ghostbusters, He-Man. J. Michael Straczynski wrote for all of these 80s cartoons and did a fantastic job. Like, some of the best writing. He writes for comic books. And back in the 90s, he was able to write out a series and get a guaranteed amount of episodes so that he could write an entire story from start to finish. Oh, okay. Well, I will. Oh, Emerson's taken off. Emerson, have fun. I salute you. Have a good time, you two. Thank you for coming. Thank you for stopping in and chatting, keeping me company on this long painting expedition I'm doing here. So appreciate you. See you at the next game. Thank you. You're the best. So yeah, Babylon 5, really well written and excellent science fiction storytelling. See ya. Have fun. That sounds like a great activity for the summer here. So I think, if you're interested, I think it's available on like Tubi or something. If you want to check it out, but I highly recommend it. If you liked Dune, I feel like there's things that you'll like about Babylon 5. It's a story about a space station, and it starts out just telling you Babylon 1 through 4 all disappeared, and this is the story of Babylon 5. And then it goes back, and yeah, of course, you find out what happens at some point to the rest of the Babylon stations. And there's a lot of really deep philosophical things going on as well. There's one group of aliens that are sort of like angels, and there's one group of aliens that are sort of like devils. And they're very distant, and they don't interact, and they keep out of the way, but they're known about. And humanity is just sort of a fledgling race in the race for the stars. So it's good. It's a good series. Anyway, Babylon 5. Check it out. Washing out my brush here. Okay, the second base coat of red is done. I still need just a little more brown up in here on this. I missed the side here, so we'll go ahead and get that. And just kind of deliver the paint as best as I can here. And it really is okay to get it on top of the other paint, but it's not like it can't come out, but it's just sometimes the colors sort of interact with each other a little bit. If you try to put down a yellow on top of a purple, you're going to get a brown. So you just got to be careful. Ooh, this paint's a little runny. It's more of a wash. Yeah. Look at this. Oh boy. It's like I just gave up halfway here. So, okay, still got people watching. There must be Emiliano must still be on here too. Glad you stopped by. I was a little worried about you yesterday. I don't know. I just felt like you were a little upset, and I think I know the reason why, and felt like, well, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. Working hard. So I feel like eight people at a D&D table is about where we want to be. I know we talked about this, but the way I feel is like if people want to play, I'm always sort of like, well, as long as we're not over 8 people, then I'm good with it. Or unless there's someone who, is disruptive of the table. And so I feel like 8 people at a table is about where we kind of. I'm not saying that we need 8 people, but I feel like I'm okay with 8 people. And if we have 8 people who want to play, then I'm not gonna, cast anyone away from the table. Unless, of course, someone's being disruptive on purpose and making it hard. But that's... There's so many people who have asked about our game and said, "Hey, I'd like to play," and there's not enough spots sometimes. It's great that people want to play, which is again why I was really happy to see that Jace had started. Oh, the Ring of... Well, let's see. It's actually a Ring of Free Action. Isn't it? And I don't have the stats for it right in front of me. But possibly I'm willing to kind of take a look at the magical item again and see if that's something that it could be useful for. There's also, I feel like the windows could be like a clear gray in here, but I'm not sure yet. Okay, let me take a look at the Ring of Free Action. Luckily, I brought mine. Okay, so Ring of Free Action. While you wear this ring, difficult terrain doesn't cost you extra movement. In addition, magic can neither reduce your speed nor cause you to be paralyzed or restrained. I feel like a good lawyer could probably... A good lawyer could probably argue that it could. I mean, yeah, I feel like using an axe that would be larger in size generally than the person using it would be restraining. Interesting. Um, hmm. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's why I'm saying like a good lawyer might be able to argue that that it would be allowing you to move a little easier. Magical items as well. Right, right, yeah. Wouldn't need it on the axe because you would be the one being restrained. Yeah, exactly. And the way that magical items work is normally too is that they sort of like if a giant's wearing, a bracers of giant strength or something, like that, then they would normally change size if like a smaller sized person were to put them on. So, Gert's great axe, if you were to have that ring on, um, and the axe, that would be two items that you would be attuned to. And I think you can attune to 3. So that would be most of your magical items that you would equip. That being said, yeah, if you want to use up all of your your magical item spots with those two items, then they might actually reinforce each other and work well together. So yeah, there's a couple different. I would think maybe Gert's great axe would need to be resized because as a magical item it could do that, but for you to just it's bigger than you are, right? It's a halfling, at least while Harshnag's carrying it. Well, good evening. Zergrak? I'm hoping that this is Zutgarak. Zutgarak. Good evening, Zutgarak. Thank you for stopping in. We're just painting Ezmerelda's wagon. Would I be attuned to the item from my backstory? Good question. If it's not magical, then no. I don't really see, a gun weapon as being a magical type item. However, not if you. Okay, so what I'm saying is like if you crafted, if your character made a rifle, then, that wouldn't be considered magical because you just used your skills to make it. Does that make sense? So so let's see here, and I'm really sorry about this. It's just that I'm looking on the screen of my phone while I'm playing. Zutgarak, you're a friendly neighborhood dice maker. That's well, that's cool. Tell us more. What's we're a group playing D&D. We sometimes do a game or two at our friendly local game store, and the last time we were there, we saw these dragon eye dice actually they were just regular eye dice, and when you would roll them, they had the die, the number. I would look at the number of what your roll was. So those were fun. I thought those were cool. There's so many awesome dice out these days. I just last night spent like $10. Okay, well, it started as a way to satiate my two dice goblins, my kids, and that's a floating center. Okay. Yeah, right. Oh, that's awesome. Your kids, got into dice, and you're like, I could easily go broke buying dice, or I could just make them myself and possibly turn it into a side hustle. I like that. All right, a little more owl bear brown here. I think with these windows, I'm going to get on this next pass how I did these first. I think I'm going to go in there and do these first on the next side with this bugbear brown. So that so I'm not covering up the work that I already did. Oh. Okay, fill a small glass sphere with what resembles an eye and liquid. Have a weight in the eye part. Okay, and then the eye's looking up. Oh. Yeah. You got to be careful when pressurizing them. Oh, wow. I didn't even know that there was a pressurizing stage of making dice. See, Ace? Learn something new each day. Mm. Oh. So it sounds like you've crafted these before, or at least know the process involved. That is fascinating. Is there any heat involved in this pressure pot to reduce the bubbles, or is it all about the? It's just like a resin technique. Oh, half colored, half transparent. Neat. Okay. How long have you been working with epoxy resins? Yeah. What are your feelings with the medium? Is it something you feel like you've really kind of mastered all there is to it, or are you just kind of scratching the surface after a few years of working with it? Oh, so it's deep, huh? It's a deep well. Uh huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I am not surprised. So I'll tell you that I spent a lot of time living in North Carolina, and the Outer Banks of North Carolina with my brother and dad and grandparents, and they did and still do. Yeah, if someone says they're a master, they're lying. Yeah, I agree. I 100% believe you. My brother was, well, still just talking with him the other day, was telling me that he does epoxy on fishing rods. They have to wrap them, and the eyes on the fishing rods, they use like a thread to wrap around the eyelets, and then they use epoxy. Um, and he's been doing it for 30 years, and he says he can't, he can't. He's still, like you said, he's still learning, and there's a technique to it, and that working with epoxy is like it's it takes time and know-how. And he was saying, I can't find anybody to do this for me. You couldn't hire anyone with that knowledge. Know of some really great dice makers, though. Okay, so yeah, tell, continue. Tell us what you yeah, you need to make them harden and lead the line. Yeah. Tell us what you respect about the really great dice makers that you know. Ribonator and Druid Dice. Both those guys run circles around. Okay. Let's check them out. I got a minute and an iPad, I think. Yeah, right. Ooh. Oh, those are beautiful. Look at Druid Dice Shop. Okay. Let's just see here. Druid Dice Shop. Is this the right one? Is this the Fireball D6 mold? Okay. Liquid cores. Okay, this is, I think, the ones cores that are guaranteed to fit perfectly into your mold. Cool. I like this little mimic D20. Wow. Okay, let me look at the other one. They sell molds and dice. Okay, that's Druid's page. Let me look at Ribonator here. You see the little baby Yoda with the D20? Let's see, okay, I'm gonna... Oh, yeah. So you were saying that you do multicolor, or like half transparent, half opaque. And it looks like these are like multicolor dice with some really cool... Yeah. Wow. Yeah, these are nice. I like the lemon D8s here. Lemonade dice. I feel like the food is an unexplored area for dice making. My players are always talking about the halfling trait, or like one of the traits that's like a chef trait, and wanting to make food. I think food dice would be appropriate for some of these. Need a little more water here on the brush. Ace, okay, taking off. Aw, Ace, thank you. Thank you for keeping me company. I appreciate you. Thanks, buddy. We'll see you soon. We'll see you at the next session for Storm Kings. I am using the Dungeons and Dragons Marvelous miniatures. Are those Citadel acrylic colors? Okay. No, they're not. They're the Adventurers paint set from Nolzur's Marvelous Miniatures. And these are probably some of my least used paints, but some of my most cherished and fondly loved paints. I've had them for years. I was what I used to start with, and they they were on sale at my FLG, my friendly local game store. And the ones I do use Citadels. I use Citadels a lot. They have some wonderful contrast paints that I use all the time when I'm just trying to get in there and get things done. The reason I'm using these, the D&D line. Okay, MIG metal colors. It's a. If you want metallic paints, I would look up a brand named MIG, and their metal colors are awesome. Yes, I have seen those at the store that we play Storm King's Thunder at, and they are great. Yes, they are fantastic. Yes, thank you for mentioning those and recommending them, because I'm always looking for recommendations on paints, and I have seen those around. Overuse their gold. Okay, yeah. I'm not a fan of. I'm sorry if anyone Vallejo sees this. I'm not a fan of Vallejo's metal colors. I'm sorry. They're acrylic metal color paints. There are some Vallejo metals that are really good, but okay. Yeah, this cart has some definite metal spots on it. So tomorrow, I'd stop in and have a look at. Oh, Emiliano taking off too. Okay, thank you, Emiliano, for coming and hanging out. It was great to have you just keep me company. I will see you soon at our next game session, and enjoy the rest of the break. But I'll see you before then. Bye. Friend was texting. They were leaving the stream. I hate to see him go. But no, I will definitely look up those when I stop by the store tomorrow. Love going to the game shops to buy stuff. If it's small numbers. Yes. Yes, I am streaming right now. I'm streaming live online. Is there... You want me to turn it off? Oh, okay. Looking for a new D&D group? But about as rusty as a Viking sword these days. Oh, that's the best way to be. Oh, gosh, I would give to learn to play D&D all over again. Yes. Absolutely. The call of the wild. So there's so much more to do, and my plan was to stream here until about 6. So maybe after a quick bite to eat, I will pop back on and continue working on this for a little while. We'll see. I don't know. But I sure am having a good time here just chatting with everybody and working on this wagon. So I think we will call it for now. Got to do what the wifey asks, and then come back next time. And it seems like we're having a great chat here. So thank you, everybody. I hate to pull the stream on such a. This is the most viewers I've ever had. I've got 6 viewers at the moment. But thank you, everybody, for coming and hanging out, and we'll do this some more later. And I would really like to encourage you to pick up a D&D group. Your friendly local game store, always a good place to find people who want to play. There's usually, I've noticed, a lot of adventurers leagues that are looking for people to play. and they seem like they're really fun, and they go right by the rules as written in the modules. So they're not going to throw anything at you that is too, I would consider, kind of too much for a new player to kind of have to role play with. That being said, if you're not if you're not able to find a friendly local game store, Discord is great for D&D these days, and Roll20. So maybe we can have on our next mini painting chat just people talking about where they're at, where they're playing D&D, what their parties are like, and what they're enjoying about. Thanks, everyone.